to the conversation, but it looks like it is time. We are beginning round number one of the Dalian Regional Open. Ooh, man, I am so excited to find out what legends are going to be opening the show for us. Quick predictions, Rav. What are your best picks? What are we thinking?
Rek'Sai versus who do I want to? Rek'Sai versus Irelia.
Okay, those are good picks. We've seen those legends battle out one or two times before. I'm going for something I
Garen?
guess it's going to be revealed, and it's none other than Garen, chat. Raise your swords. Oh my goodness, chat. We have never seen a Garen on the Spiritforged season before. This is going to be spicy.
Oh, this is going to be one-sided. This is going to be brutal.
You know, very reminiscent. One time in the season one, I don't know if you remember, Rav, it was a Garen versus what was the boogeyman of the meta back then, which was Kai'Sa. And funny enough, somehow Garen squeezed out a victory. Are we going to have a crazy underdog story in round number one? Either way, I'm excited to see what a set tune Garen can bring to the table. Have you seen anything of a Garen for Spiritforged yet?
No, just that first regional. I mean, I think this person literally just looked at the last regional and went, "Oh, no one played Garen. I could just bring Garen to get a medal card after a round, possibly." Like that's what I feel like's happening.
Very true. There was zero Garen representation in the last one, so he's trying to just get a free medal card. Him and maybe 3 to 5 other people, I'm willing to bet. But Garen can decently go wide. It looks like Garen tokens might have gotten a little bit better. There are things like the Vanguard Armory. There's the other champion, I forget her name, but when she attacks, she makes 3 other tokens. So perhaps there's a world to get his actual legend ability online, or you just play him with as best good cards you can and you just ignore the fact that you have a legend ability, as most people tend to do. Because I don't think this is going to be like an Aurora Garen. What about you, Rav? You think there any shot that this is an Aurora deck?
No, I also won't be shocked if this is literally like the Fiora deck just swapped with Garen in the slot.
Yeah, you know, it's probably more likely a baited hook, Garen. I would love to see something like that.
What do we got? Oh, speaking of curl, those cards are curl. Wait, no, this is tokens. This is tokens.
Tokens indeed. What is that? What's the girls? The green card there, the green orange card or green yellow?
That's the one that I think when it takes a battlefield or conquers, you create 2 tokens in it. I'm double checking
Yeah,
it.
it is that. I'm just remembering her name here. I'll try to find it on the stream for us. Let me see.
Yeah, the worst part is you're asking a guy who played Legend Runeterra, and it has completely different names than it used to have.
Karina. There we go.
Yeah.
Karina.
No, they did leave her name. Okay, sweet. They left her name as it is.
Yeah, they left their name. So it does have accelerate. And I guess I'll pull it up for those if it does end up popping up. I'll put it up here in chat. It is... Oh, and wrong button. There we go. It is when I move to battlefield, played 3. So more than we thought. Played 3 instead of 2 1 might tokens, recruit tokens at that location where you're moving. So kind of like a glorified Noxian drummer. So we'll see if that makes a big impact. It is pretty late game, which you've seen in the past. Draven try to go late, but 7 energy is what you have to spend for that. But here we go, guys. It is Garen versus Draven. Can Garen do the unthinkable and take down the likes of Garen? A nice little heart, a friendly little emo, if you will. All right, and Garen's on the play. There's a little glimmer of hope, is there not, Rav?
No, a little bit. I mean, what do we have? We have 1 seal. We have Spectrum. We have it is the baited hook. So this is like probably. Oh, we didn't open up with seal. Interesting. I mean, this is like a okay opening hand for the most part. Like you have a turn 2 drop. You have a Call the Week in hand to deal with something like this loyal fan. So it's like not a bad opening at all from Garen, depending on how I play, and a confront. Okay, this deck is. I'm actually like this is actually a little spicy.
Yeah, spicy indeed. And you know, you tend to not want to do too much seal openings when you don't have a follow-up play, only in these kind of token decks because cards like Captain Vanguard having Legion. So you want to save those seals for when you do have a follow-up to trigger those Legions. So we get the sealed right now, float that energy, and you're able to follow things up with a Captain Vanguard, as we're seeing right here, right now. Get the 2 recruit tokens. You know, this doesn't feel all that bad. An overzealous fan could push one of those back, but you can't push everything back. So you're probably looking at attacking a battlefield. Would it take all 3? Because the recruit token would still be just 2 might on Triferian. But we'll see. We'll see where the overzealous fan decides to go because Reaver's Row looking mighty juicy, and that's the target he decides. So Draven getting the first point of today's regional online, as Draven players tend to do. And turn two seems to be rather straightforward for Draven, does it not? I mean, is it always just Draven champion?
Yeah, I think you're a Draven champion here. You're gonna walk though into, I think Cold Week is gonna come out on the side of Garen here. Get rid of this loyal fan. Probably take over his battlefield if you want. I don't know where we have a judge conversing about though. I don't know what we missed. But it looks like there was a brief judge pause. Did we miss something?
What's the battlefields? There's Reaver's Row and Triferian, so no triggers missed there. And, speaking of triggers, that is another big change, guys. If you didn't pay attention to the recent updates, that I wouldn't blame you guys because they literally just announced insight of what might have happened. But it looks to be Garen's turn, and I'm seeing some good cards in there, Rav. The Punch First, I can't remember if we've seen it before in a Garen, but that's always a really impactful card. And I'm seeing a great other secondary, a Call of the Week, if he was only able to take down that overzealous, because I'm seeing some potential lines for Garen here.
Yeah, for sure. And I was looking at the hand. Nothing changed out of the hand of Garen. So I don't know what that judge call was. I really have no idea. No cards are taken out of the hand. Like, we're now at 5 runes.
Yeah, we'll go with what chat said. The judges just had to go to the bathroom real quick.
For real. But no, so yeah, I think I like Punch First. I wonder if we are going to, I mean, we have the seal to just baited hook this Legion. I don't see why you would leave it up in the battlefield. I guess we're just going to call the week instead and then hope, I guess, at that point. It's an interesting call.
It is a very interesting call because it's just trading your recruit for the overzealous fan. At least you get rid of it before it pushes back any more units down the line. But you really wish you were able to take out the Draven because now the Draven's just going to get a free conquer, aka a free combat win, meaning more card resources in hand. So that's something you always have to consider when you're trying to fight for that Reaver's Row, which I would imagine he's not going to just let that Captain Vanguard sit there, of course. So pretty easy, straightforward conquer. And now you have to think about how can you get rid of this Draven, because on Reaver's Row it just seems like he's bouncing in and out the entire game. Call of the Week could have been a card to try to seal the deal, but because your opponent gets to choose, perhaps you could have always just played around it, right?
Yeah, and so people wondering right now, they're talking about, which I don't know why they're resolving it this way. Technically, Draven has an unattacked when I'm an attacker trigger. But when Reaver's Row is also when I defend, technically the when I defend trigger will resolve first. So I don't know why they tried to resolve Draven before the Reaver's Row.
No, you're absolutely right. The defensive player does have to decide and resolve first. In this situation, it does end up being Reaver's Row, which everything was good. I don't think Draven even paid for anything yet. No. So judges are doing good so far. Does end up tying things 2-2 and a decently good development. Trying to think a couple turns ahead, I'm wondering, is Draven running things like Garen, Stratagem, maybe even a Imperial Decree? Because then I could see where these tiny little recruit tokens can really pack a punch late game. Or is he just going to try to overwhelm them with the amount of things? Because a baited hook off Triferian, right? So what can be 3? We see Captain Vanguard. I'm not thinking of anything else that's a 3-might unit. Can you, Rav? I'm trying to just think back of the normal baited hook decks.
Not that I can think of, but you can also go up to 4, can't you, with baited hook? It's cost +1. So what do we have that is 4? Anything worthwhile?
Yeah, cost +1. Well, I was thinking if you sacrifice the recruit, right? Because on Triferian will go 2, so +1 would be 3. But I guess if you sacrifice the Vanguard, you get up to a 5. You're totally right. And 5, I couldn't tell you, but we'll find out super soon as he throws it back over. So Draven just goes out, develops out the brother back in the base. And oh, there was a good answer there. There's a Harnessed Dragon. So very similar. Very, very similar to what we saw the Fiora baited hook and Shangdu go all the way with the finals with. Because he was also kind of leaning towards the end game being Harnessed Dragon, which is a really good card. You just have to have the resources to play him when you end up drawing him instead of hitting him off the baited hook, which makes it tough. And whoa, what a bluff here. He's saying, are you going to defend with Reaver's Row? And more so, are you going to expand the Draven ability? You're just talking about recruit. This is very ambitious. How do you feel about that play?
I like it. I mean, I feel like it's a very obvious, but I mean, I guess to make you have it type situation, but it looks like he didn't take, he got punished for it. He got punished. He didn't take either one to get the extra +2 might or the Reaver's Road trigger and just gets sort of blown out of the water on this and just loses the Draven.
Oh yeah, a little David and Goliath moment. Draven was completely tapped out. He said, wait a minute, we're talking about a single might recruit token versus my Draven. You really think you could do it? Oops, I forgot about the punch first card. That is one of the monster cards coming out of Spiritforged. So recruit taking down a Draven, you never see it. And now getting a little bit more value off this baited hook. Let's see what's at the top, because his only available options will be 2 might units. I'm seeing a couple interesting decisions. One of them being when I play, I know the ability of the one all the way on the right. When you play, you either buff me, and if you do, you can draw something along those lines. But oh, what is that card? Are you familiar with that card, Rav?
Not all. I know that's Barkeep, but that's definitely a new one. I think that is from Spiritforge. It looks like it has a not a yeah. Is that Death Knell effect? Do you get so you may play a unit with no cost more than 3 and no more than a single rune recycle from your trash. So I guess it's almost like a matron.
Okay, I'll pull it up here for chat as I'm looking for it. Yeah,
Oh
glass
wait.
mixologist. It
That's
looks
why.
to be the case. So it does have Death Knell, exactly as you said. When you play a unit with no cost more than 3 and no more than a power from your trash, or when you die, that's the Death Knell trigger. You may pay. So as you said, exactly like a little bit of a mini matron. So not too bad. But how did he get a 5 off of the 2? Oh no, because of the punch first. Of course, I am
Yeah, I
going
did the same thing
crazy.
at first. I was like, wait a minute, how did he get that? I'm like, oh yeah, punch first.
Of course, of course. Which makes it even more sweeter, right? Because you not only did you take out the Draven, but you could have even hit a crazy Harnessed Dragon off the top. So I'm loving the plays coming out from Garen. Has a good idea what he wants to accomplish this game. But let's see if he could keep on this momentum, because right now he's slowly inching ahead on that point tempo. He's getting a 3 now. Draven comes back at 3, but I think this is finally going to be the circumstance where Draven conquers with the overzealous fan over to Trifarian. Or could that be a little overextended? Because if he does have another Call of the Week, you kind of bait out an attack or bait off the ability / use the ability on overzealous, and then another call. I mean, this is going to be interesting. I'm wondering to see what Draven has for this turn, because I'm seeing a couple good cards. First things first, of course, Stack Deck being one of the better cards in Chaos. Let's see what he picks up the top.
I imagine it's going to maybe be this Bamboozle. No, not Bamboozle. Actually, that's going to be the wrong play because we only have the Overzealous fan. Yeah, Kais is not bad. I don't doubt if Overzealous fan just takes Reaver's Row with Darius here to just double hold. I was really more shocked Garen went back to re-hold Reaver's Row to give Draven a draw. If you're just going to run away anyway, I don't know how much I love it, per se. I guess you're forcing Darius to move up, but you can also get the Darius to move anyway off a second trigger to run back. So I'm not sure why we decided to do that.
Yeah, at the minimum, I mean, he has Reaver's Row as a safety net. He also hasn't played anything, or he plays Stack Deck, so one more card will allow that Darius to ready and recall it back to base if he chooses to do so. But this Falling Star tends to be quite devastating for Order decks. Let's see how impactful it's going to do. So a double trigger onto the Mixologist, taking it down. So not the worst, not the best for either player. That is a hefty cost. 2 Fury Runes recycled for just 1-to-1 trade. I almost want to feel like, oh wait, the Death Knell doesn't trigger? Wait, what are we missing?
He has
there?
no units. He has no units. He just has a Cold a week and a Punch First.
Right,
So
right. There had to be a unit to play for that.
Yeah, so I think that was a well play, especially because it only cost him 1 rune technically, because he did have a gold that he spent. So I think that was like a perfectly good trade. So they don't get the more value out of the Barkeep going forward and set up a skill like this is just going to set up to a really strong board state now for Draven, because Garen can't really push into a single one of these battlefields unless there's another combat trick at that point. But at this point with Draven, what do we have? One rune up or two?
I'm seeing
If we have,
one at the moment.
yeah, so we have one. He's going to hide this fight or flight to save the fan at the Triferian War Camp to make it a little bit harder to take over without having to sacrifice. Like, this is going to be the point where, unless you have a really good units off the top of something else, like Draven's going to start slowly running away with us. And yeah, the seal off the top isn't really going to help us get there too much.
Yeah, probably top 3 worst cards you could have picked up. The Confront coming down. You do get to look one more time at the top of the deck. It looks to be a Treasure Broker, if I saw that right. But I was going to say, we are in the neighborhood of Karina. You do finally have your 7 energy, but it looks like you just don't have it in hand. It does tend to have Accelerate, which in that scenario, you can't even play it with the additional cost. But it looks to be that Treasure Broker. It does come in with Accelerate. Do you try to just bait out the fight or flight / overzealous fan ability? At the very least, you're going to be able to get a gold token out of him because of that Death Nail trigger. But I think you just send it. They have equal might, so it's either 1-for-1 trade. You bait out that hidden card, and then you have to see what you're going to be. Oh, he's going for both? This is interesting decision. I guess he's trying to bait either or ability, but if you send fight or flight on the Vanguard, then I guess the 2. Okay, I think this is fair. This is a reasonable play to do.
Yeah, I think this is perfectly reasonable. The only thing that's really punishing, if this wasn't fight or flight, anything like a bamboozle or anything that was like even a tie turner, this would have been super punishing, but you just had to force it. At that point, that looks exactly what's happening. Just going to take the trade here. Kick him off the battlefield, but Darius is still going to sit up Reaver's Row, get 5 points. You haven't really progressed your board state as Garen. I guess we'll see what we hit off this baited hook. I guess we can see what's in that 4 might slot.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. There are things like Matron, so perhaps something along those lines. Ooh, a set brawler, not a bad hit. That does have 4 might in the hand, but once it hits the board, it does get that additional buff, bringing it up to 5. Unfortunately, unlike Fiora, you can't ready it with something like a Fiora Worthy. I guess you technically could be running something like Fiora Worthy, but that is a pretty good hit if I do say so myself. You trade out your Captain Vanguard for a set brawler that's able to get super tall to take down the likes of Darius in the future. Of course, a bit easier said than done because that Reaver's Row making it so problematic to reach these units, these impactful units from Draven, just in and out. And one of those units, that Kaiser's Survival. Go ahead.
He missed the trigger. He played Confront this turn. Set could have came in ready.
Oh my goodness, you're so right.
Yep, and now they're readying it. But yeah, he could have taken a battlefield. Oh, that's brutal. That's actually brutal.
Yeah, Garen has to play this picture perfect, but yeah, he could at least conquer the Triferian War Camp just to kind of hold it down, because the Kaiser would have had to invest a little bit more resources on top of that to take down the battlefield. But man, Rav, looking at the hand of Draven, I don't think it would have made too much of a difference. To edge a knight or ride the wind to bring that Darius over. You don't even need it because the little moves you can do with Darius, but things are not looking too good for Garen. We had some hope, Rav, but I don't know. That hope is slowly diminishing.
Yeah, slowly going away. I mean, at least you could at least try to maybe force a trade at Reaver's Row on the Darius, maybe. It's forcing to use it because they're going to 1-for-1 trade and just force that out. I mean, granted, it puts you behind as Garen, but prevents the hold. But, I mean, this is pretty much wrapped up at this point. Like, they're just going to go ahead and take this, reconquer next turn. They have a Rebuke in hand and a Ride the Wind. So I think this is going to be pretty locked up because you're not playing Fiora. You don't have Repos. You have no counter spells. Like, I don't think there's anything that Garen can do.
Yeah, honestly, there's just a little there. The Draven player established too much board presence. He's gone way too far ahead. On top of that, he's going to go ahead and play a knight onto that tide turn to try to protect it with 5 total might on that battlefield. There is, as you mentioned, a Rebuke and a Ride the Wind, so you could potentially win the game on your opponent's turn. If you see the opportunity, Ride the Wind off to Reaver's Row, you conquer on their turn, and then if you're out of place for the Garen, you're able to hold up to 8. That's what makes Ride the Wind so impressive in scenarios like this. Let's see, though, if Garen catches wind of that potential line. Or does he just try to go into that tide turner? Because as it stands, he does win that conquer. But whenever Draven has 4 runes available, I'm thinking Spinning Axe, Long Swords, Rebukes. It is terrifying to go against Draven sometimes.
I think you're gonna have to try and force to prevent the hold here, because I mean you do have a hidden blade in hand. So you're gonna try and maybe kill a unit afterwards, or and just try and get rid of whatever unit tries to conquer in a different place. Like I think you just have to try and knock this Tide Turner out. Otherwise they hold a 7, and they're just gonna send everything at your set. There's no real there's no real outplay from that situation. And it looks like it's just gonna go ahead and take, and you're probably just gonna see the rebuke come down next turn, and there's double move in for a conquer
Yeah,
for the next turn.
absolutely.
But hey, do what we gotta do. Why are we? Wait a minute.
Using the buff, perhaps he has something to gank on over, because I don't see any potential reason to use the buff now. It wasn't like unless he wants to
Baited hook?
do a baited hook, but he's paying a little bit more than just a baited hook. The Spectral Matron coming down, getting the Captain
Right.
Vanguard. So the only possible out for him, he's realized, is try to hold the Reaver's Row for his dear life. I don't know how good it's going to end up playing out, but I guess you got to play towards your out sometimes. The baited hook does look like it's going to be played on the set Brawler. I don't think you get much more might than 5, but he's really hoping for the bingo card. There it is, the Harness Dragon, being able to eliminate one of those backline units. Maybe there's a slight chance for Garen with these kind of plays.
Yeah, honestly, I forgot Garen had Matron in hand. That's why I was just like, I don't know what else he had, but I told you that Matron's a thing. So it does come in. That's 8. Did Dragon not get played to the base? Wait, did Dragon get played to base? Ooh, I guess we have the Hidden Blade still? That's not too bad. I was wondering why we didn't play it to the battlefield, but I guess with Hidden Blade in hand, that's not bad. Double Conquer. God, that's just how bad Garen's legend is. Like, I was like, oh, we have 4 units here. We get to draw 2. No, it's when you conquer. If you have 4 units at the battlefield. It's an unconquer trigger, and that's just why.
Yeah. It should just be when you have 4 units on a battlefield, period. That would make him an inch better, but you're totally right. He did conquer with Brawler first, and then he developed that battlefield presence. But let's see if there was a calculated reasoning here. He had the Hidden Blade. Is that the hidden card there, Rav, or do you think there's another hidden card?
No, that's the hidden card. I forget that last card. I think the last card, not second seal. We already played second seal. I forget what the last card is. But yeah, I mean, this is the other thing. Like, Draven's just going to go with the, I'm just going to hold this battlefield. I mean, we still had the rebuke. We still have Ride the Wind. We can probably play Darius. And we have a spinning axe. So, I mean, it's going to be a little bit harder for Garen to get through this, I guess. For, what are we top decking? Maybe another, no, Spectrum only hits 3 or less. I don't
No,
know.
I mean, I think this is beautifully played from the Draven. Of course, he just tends to have the higher value cards, but in this situation, we're talking about 7 to 4. No matter what Garen can do, how are you bringing all that battlefield presence on the Reaver's Row over to Targon's Peak, or not Targon's Peak, the Trifarian War Camp, because you do have amount of units to benefit from those extra +1s, but you just don't have a means, because something like Confront only readies cards when they're played. They don't ready things like Silver Signature Spell, I believe, Call of the Hunt, or something of the like, where you ready all your units, because in this situation it would be really extraordinary. But okay, you at the very minimum, you're going to be able to see 2 cards to see what he hits off the top.
There is a Confront. And man, those cards are curling. Those cards are Pringles.
Rav, I've been noticing that so much with the Chinese cards. I mean, like chat was saying earlier, it has to be the humidity or something, because there's something going on. There's so many players with really pringled up cards. But hey, I mean, they're still, as long as they're all in that same scenario, I guess none of them are truly marked. But Confront, just to see an additional card at the top. Is there anything that can save him? The Mixologist is on Death Note trigger. You can run in the Mixologist, kill one of those units, but you are not looking too good. It looks to me that Draven should be very clearly able to hold up to 8th point and get himself a game 1 victory.
Yeah, I guess you play that here. You run in, maybe kill something, or you just baited hook it and get the Death Note trigger that way to get 2 units out. To maybe hopefully kill something. But so I guess maybe try and hit because Dragon 6 might, right? Not 5. Yeah,
It
6.
is 6 might.
That's 6. Oh, we hit the dragon, but it's 4. It's brutal. If we just played the bartender, we could have gotten that dragon and baited hook him.
Right, that would have been really good. At the very least, you get a set brawler. Hopefully, he remembers to ready it because he did play
Ready?
confront and he
Let's
does
go.
indeed ready it. Okay, perhaps there's a way. I think that hidden card is the Edge of Night, so all you have to account for is 2 extra might. I know it's easier because we're in the booth and we're able to see all the knowledge, but he could be able to. He probably is trying to play around a fight or flight, so sending in just 1 unit at a time just to try to bait out the hidden card first. And if he doesn't use the hidden, at least you could trade a couple units. Your 7 might with the Trifarian War Camp. That's at least the Tide Turner and the Kaiser. You're still going to do a whole lot more heavy lifting than just that Dragon push, but maybe Brawler can do that.
Yeah, I also don't mind just like passing the action here to just take the trade into 1 unit because you still have a rebuke in hand. So I don't know how much worried you're about taking a trade and rebuke the set, and then I guess they play set again, I guess, but still that 8 might kills up something here. So 6, that's at 7. So kill 2. No, I mean that's 7 to that's 5. Actually, it's 8. So you're going to kill 1 unit actually.
Yeah, that
So
is such an unfortunate break point for Garen. That Edge Knight putting in work. Because, yeah, 7, that'd be 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, you could actually only kill a single unit. So choosing the second highest value there being the Kaiser cores. You know, I'm seeing some lines. He could drop the Mixologist. He could run it in because he enters ready. And then you could bring out perhaps a Captain Vanguard and run all those into Trifarian War Camp. Get a +3 might on each of those. Or not each of those, but the collective might total. I still don't think there's a world, but if they didn't have a rebuke in hand, perhaps there was a little window of opportunity for this Garen, funny enough.
yeah, I think it's just going to be the play, or just to play that unit and run that in with a set. One of them gets rebuked, I guess, or you have to run maybe just set in, and then get one of them's going to have to get rebuked. We're just going to go baited hook. Okay. So what are we baited hooking for? Like, do we have a different prompt?
We're
We've seen
trying
all
to
3
find
dragons.
something off the top. Everything that gets baited hook will enter ready, so everything could be quite impactful. That's not too bad. I believe that was a Captain Vanguard getting pushed into the trash. A Corina could be quite nice, but I remember the might is a little bit too tall, but that is a double set brawler. You could only rebuke one of them. They're both going to be attacking for 8 total might on a Trifarian War Camp. That's 9 total might. There's just too much though,
Not
right?
big
That's
enough.
8 plus 5 plus 3. Yeah, I think that's just a little bit too much
Technically,
coming out from
Derek will get
Draven.
buffed anyway, because Cole, Edge of Night was played, so that's card number 1. Rebuke would be card number 2. Darius gets an extra +2 and untaps.
Yeah,
So
so he'll
Derek's
be
gonna
at
get better.
10.
Yeah, and there's also a spinning axe and a stack deck. Like, oh, this is just
Yeah, this is just wrap it up, move on to game number 2. But of course, Garen doesn't know. He's just trying to play to the best of his ability. He's sending in 1 Garen, or sending in 1 set brawler. So use the buff to get up to 8 total might on this push. That could be eating one of these rebukes, or you should just save your rebuke for the very final push. You know, it feels worse when you give your opponent some kind of hope and then you snatch it all away like Draven players tend to do each of these regionals. So we'll see if he does something like that.
yeah. I imagine some of this is gonna get played here just to get rid of it. I mean, I imagine if you're Draven, you're just also trying to do this just to try and shows to get time, because Draven also has the issue of noticing these regionals, like especially his deck, they keep on going the draws every time. So I think you need to avoid draws as much as possible and just try and close out this game.
Yeah, you're
What do you
so right. There's been so many draws in these past 2 regionals, so I would imagine these players are catching wind of that and realizing we have to play a little bit faster, at the very least realize when it's over, and that is what the Garen player did indeed realize, and that will be game number 1 headed its way towards Garen's side. Well done. You know, to be fair, Garen, or I keep saying Garen because they're so familiar, but Draven did end up playing decently well, I want to say. He had full control. It was kind of back and forth early on, but somewhere in the middle, I believe it was Reaver's role really that made a world of difference. You brought in Rek'Sai, you could definitely bring in Fiddle, but chat, we'll get back to that conversation. It is time to get back to the game. We are headed into that game number 2 of this very first round of today's Dalian Regional. Let's see, can Garen try to bring things back, as he was on the play. He started things off first, but it almost felt after that little judge call nice and early, He fell, I don't know, maybe he got a little distracted or something, but let's see if he locked back in, or is there really nothing he could do? We are talking about the tier 0. I'm not saying tier 0, but a lot of people are considering this a tier 0 meta. Draven is the top of the throne right now. Is there just no world the likes of Garen could get it done? I mean, it's not impossible. It just
I
seems a
think it's just
little
high
unlikely,
roll.
but I'm hoping this guy proves us wrong.
Yeah, I think you just got the high roll as Garen. Like you pretty much have a dead legend ability. You have a dead champion in your field. Like you just got the high roll. Like I know people are gonna be mad at me for saying dead, but as we discussed, getting 4 units to conquer at once, especially versus Draven, that's gonna be hard pressed. And you
Yeah.
need more tokens to make Garen champion come online, so that's also hard pressed. So it's just like, like it's gonna be hard push. Like you don't have to high roll as Garen. You have to hit all the right units at the right time, sequence perfectly, and hope Draven and don't give Draven free draws. But you're also running Candlelit Sanctum, which doesn't really help you.
Yeah, it does help you set up some of the baited hook stuff though later on the line. I like this card. This is a newer card from set 2. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it does read when I have an additional unit next to me, you get +1. I'll try to bring it up on the screen. I've seen it in the likes of Fiora decks. They when they're able to spam out a good amount of units. I just can't remember off the top what
Trusty
it's.
Ramhound. Trusty Ramhound. While you have another unit here, I have +1 might.
Perfect, exactly. So a 2/3, not too bad, but you do need to include it with another card and confront. Almost able to do a decent amount of work for the Garen last turn. Is he able to, at the minimum, conquer both battlefields? It seems realistic, but at the same time, you don't want to overextend and give free combat wins to Dravens. He does have the ability of hiding a hidden blade. Is that something to consider? But he's going everything into candlelight sanctum, candlelit sanctum. Interesting. I thought he would maybe send one, but maybe, as we said, he doesn't want to give any free combat wins.
Yeah, ooh, that's a hard look at the top. A baited hook and a set. Like either one feels bad to put under your deck. I mean, I agree keeping baited hook on top is going to cycle through your deck, but I think
Oh,
you
the
had.
Garen ability. The
Oh my
Garen
God,
legend
we
ability
did!
for the first time in what feels like Riftbound history has finally proc chat. This is a historic moment for Riftbound, I will say.
Oh my God. See, this is what I get. I literally just talked how impossible it was, and it's going to happen. See, I have the reverse of caster curse. It's to prove me wrong. This is how it works.
Yeah, an impressive +1 draw, or draw 2, mind you. That's a little bit better than I was actually expecting. Draw 2 right off the get-go. Well done. I'm seeing where the confront Captain Vanguard synergy really coming into play here. Does end up hiding that hidden blade, which could be very impactful. You take down the Draven, you take down the majority board presence from this Draven nice and early. So I think he's going to be playing the safer line, going into the Obelisk of Power for now. And he does have 6 runes to work with thanks to the Obelisk of Power, so goes ahead, establish out the Kaiser, and most likely will be leaving 2 runes available. But scratch that, gonna be going on the follow-up play with the Noxus Hopeful. So this is just the really optimal plays from Draven. The 1-2 follow-up, 2 4 might units right from turn 2, really strong.
Yeah, really goes up. It didn't fall for the the bait of going into that battlefield. I was trying to think, I'm like, oh, if he moves in here, gets hidden bladed, and then like have to think about the draw. I'm like, very well played from Draven at this point. Now, what did we draw on top of here? I know we had the baited hook in hand. Do we have double dragon in hand?
Oh,
Oh,
those are
that is
cards you don't
no,
want to
it's
see in
dragon
hand. You want
nature.
to keep those in the deck, right?
Yeah, so it's dragon and matron, thankfully. So it is dragon and matron. We do have baited hook. So I guess how do we want to set this up at this point is the question. Like you have the unit, do you just sack one of these recruits just trying to set up big? Because you are in the point lead. So you're at the point, you're just trying to get bigger, I guess, and make it harder for Draven to come in without overextending resources.
Yeah, I believe this is right along the right lines. You go ahead and sack the hidden blade. Of course, you would have much rather taken out the Draven, but since you already have your turn, might as well see additional cards before you commit to a play line. Retreats everything back, rightfully so. Looks like the pit rookie coming down. It looks to me like he's prepping for something like a baited hook situation going on forward. He's giving it up to 4 so that you're able to bring out a 5. But actually, 5 isn't that nice breakpoint because Harness Dragons are 6. What was 5 that we saw before? It was the Mixologist, I believe.
Yeah, just the mixologist. I don't think there's anything else off the top that we've seen because Matron's 4, I think, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think Matron's 4, so that doesn't matter. Unless there's something in the sideboard. Yeah, because even Karina is 6, so you don't hit anything with Karina. I don't know what we're It must be a sideboard card. At least there's
Perhaps,
nothing we've seen
perhaps.
yet.
At the very least, you have a whole open field with the 4 might tokens or the 4 might units at that. So you do feel comfortable. Second and 5, you have a lot of options. And speaking of a lot of options, the Garen player has done a fantastic job of developing his board. Look at all those units. That's 2, 4, 6, 7 total units to his name. Feeling pretty good about that. We haven't seen the likes of a Grand Stratagem or an Imperial Decree to really make all those units super impactful later on, but I'm willing to bet he does have it. And speaking of impactful cards, how do you feel about this Ferris Forerunner?
Furious Runner is like a scary card with tremendous value. Like Kai'Sa, I thought was an insanely valued card at like 5 in a red if you accelerate, but Forerunner's just as big. I mean, it's a 6 and 1 recycle to get also 2 more 6 units on the back on Death Kneel, or get 6 might total, I should say, on back of Death Kneel is just super powerful. Like this card's scary, and you'll have Trifarian War Camp to get through this. So it's like, oof. Like you have to commit a lot of resources to clear up both these units, or at least Dragon or something.
Yeah, and speaking of Dragon, it looks like it was the hit off the top. He's a little short because Dragon does cost a whole lot of invested runes. That's 8 total energy, and right now he's only at 6 total energy. So one turn away from playing out that dragon, and that makes 2 dragons, meaning there's only a single harness dragon in the deck. So if he's trying to go for a harness dragon hit off a baited hook, you're more likely not going to be able to hit that. So it takes a couple options away from him, but he got the Garen legend ability on turn 2. Is he able to get it off here on this turn as well? Thinking about sending 4 units in. It's gonna be the Hound. Oh no, he just wants the guaranteed conquer with Garen ability. So unbelievable, Raph. Can you believe this? We're seeing it not once this game, but 2 times the legend ability has procced. That's a decent amount of card draw, I will say.
The worst part is we're just literally seeing the same cards off this card draw. We just saw now another Ram Hound, and I think that was a Pit Rookie as well. Like, I like that we're drawing cards, we're getting rid of dead draws, but man, just redrawing the same cards isn't really advancing our game plan any, and that just feels super awkward.
Yeah,
But
a little
hey,
bit of the opposite of the Aurelia problem. You're filled. You have an abundance of units, but not a whole lot of combat tricks. And at this point, you don't even have enough runes to make full use of these units, so it doesn't feel that great. I'm wondering now though, do you just continue to stack up this obelisk? You got to 3. I mean, no, you still need a win because right now you're behind on point tempo. So I think this is correct. You play a set brawler in the back to try to push up the candlelit. But this is kind of scary, right? Because you have a lot of units, but they just don't have a lot of might, right? What is that total on Obelisk down there?
on Obelisk, you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because Ram Hound gets an extra +1. So you have 9
Mm-hmm.
might, enough to no, not enough to hold. Draven pushes at 6, and then with Legion will be a total of 10. So not enough to really hold either, and not enough to retake on your own side to go fight into the Kaisa and the Forerunner. So I guess we just try and fight to get a hold, but Draven get an easy combat win here. And just
Yeah,
what do we?
I was going to say the only saving grace could be the punch first bluff. I say bluff because I'm seeing no such thing in hand, but does Draven risk it? Is that a calculated risk, or does it just risk throwing those 2 units away? Because he saw the punch first in game 1. If I'm the Draven player, I would just have to play around the punch first. Or are you risking it here, Rav? What would you assume?
I think honestly, depending, I think our hand is going to play this Brim here just to set this up, and then you just take into it. Like you have nothing else in hand to do. Like you have an axe, which you still leave 2 runes up for axe, and then you still have 2 runes up also for ride the wind. Like I don't see a downside playing Brim here, depending if you have a second one in hand. I don't think we do, or hit a second one sooner. So I don't see
Yeah.
an issue. Just want to force it.
I love it. Thunder Song, one of the best cards in set 1 coming into set 2, of course, but playing it safe, interesting enough, doesn't want to go ahead and takes a huge amount of value from this against all odds. That must be the most impressive against all odds I've ever seen. You're getting +2 for every single unit, every single enemy unit on your opposing board. So that's plus what is that, 8 total might on your Draven. Forget the Thunder Song, save it till the very end when it really makes a difference. Against all odds, if he didn't have it in the main board, what a great sideboard pick for this Draven, because against a go wide deck like Garen, that is a perfect card. I've never seen that card really pop off the way it did just now, getting a plus 8 might. Who needs a punch first, right? When you get plus 8 for that.
Yeah, that's just insane value against the odds. Like that must be a sideboard card and a really well teched one. But that's just a brutal play in the world. Like, oh, another Kaisa, and we still have Rebuke in hand as well. Like Draven's just setting up everything at this point, and Garen's just looking to go like, I can maybe play a Dragon. Actually, we can't even play Dragon next turn. We'll be at 7 rooms.
7. You're so right. This is just showing full on display why Draven has a bit of a problem, in the sense of you have so many good potential cards in Fury and in Chaos. You just don't even have room to fit them all in the 40 card deck that you have to have for these events, or for any events at that. You're just, the card quality from Draven's deck versus the card quality from Garen's deck, it's clear as day. There's just Pharah's Forerunner, the Draven Champion, the Darius's, the Rebukes, the Spinning Axes, the Kaisers that draw 1 for every conquer. And then on the other side, there's decent, Captain Vanguard is pretty good. He's no slouch. Pit Rookie's okay. Seth Brawley's probably the best thing you can do, but having to play out another Pit Rookie, buffing that up to 9 total might, and perhaps even 12, and it does go up to 12. Even with the Spinning Axe here, he knows he's only going to have to play around 9 total might. So I like this play from Seth Brawler, but we know what's in the Draven's hand. But actually going the other direction over to Kennelit.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to Rebuke if this. What's under this? That's a Fight or Flight? No, this is Edge. So 8. Yeah, I mean, this is just, I guess you could just Rebuke if you really want to here. This is going to be sort of annoying. But also, why in the world does Draven Champion get to generate a gold on combat win and there's no downside to this unit losing a combat? Like, why is that a thing?
Yeah. It is obnoxious sometimes. And speaking of obnoxious, the Ride the Wind, not to bring the Draven in, but to bring the Pharah's Forerunner down to where the Draven's at. So that will be a conquer win. But he's saying, I'll let you conquer one of these battlefields, but there is just no world you're going to be able to conquer this secondary battlefield on your turn. There's just one too much might on that board presence. Yeah, I think Draven slowly inching away and running away with this game number 2, because he's most likely going to be going up to 6. And he has what is in the back line? 2 pairs of Kaisa and a Noxus Hopeful. So a total collective might of 12. You're easily able to push onto that Seth Brawler, so things aren't looking too good. I think all what Garen needs, he needs a little bit more spells. He needs those hidden blades. He needs those punch first. What else have we seen? I mean, I can't think of any more spells that would help him out in this scenario.
No, and that's also the problem too with these baited hook decks. You want to be more unit heavy than spell heavy, and you run into these situations too where you're just flooding out on unit. Exactly what's happening. Yeah, so we're gonna see the baited hook come down. Maybe try and cycle. Like you can cycle the set if you want, but I mean, you're not really. I mean, if you run something that big, anywhere close to that might, by all means, I want to see it. Like,
bring out the Mountain Drake, will ya? Let's see what he has. Looking at the top 5, the Karina, not a bad hit. It does have the potential to get Accelerate, and it looks like that might be the most likely target, as the other one is only 3 might. It does get a buff, but the Karina does come out for the first time in this series. And it does enter, or is he saying he's going to pay the Accelerate because he played it readied?
I guess, but why are we... I swear I got a free pass here. I'm going to flip my lid.
Oh, he wants the Garen ability one more time, or actually not even getting close to it, as there are going to be a couple of trades, but going in for an impressive amount. That's 6 from the Karina, 3 from the token, so up to 9. The other token brings that up to 10, and then Vanguard up to 13, Pit Rookie up to 15. So let's see, is there a world he eliminates both of these bodies from Draven's side? Because that could be impactful, but think about what this Draven player is going to have on the clapback, right? It doesn't feel too good as a Garen.
Yeah, so it looks like, yeah, I figured it's just gonna clear up everything but one recruit. Let's clear up the board, but you do still have double Kaisa and Legion. I mean, I guess that's not a bad trade, but it's also like that's a decimating trade on Garen's side. Like you just lost your entire board state. Your opponent just made 2/3/3 mechs that you can't fight against, while still having two Kaisas and a Legionnaire in the back. Like I get why we had to do it.
Man, Rav, you're totally right. I don't see where that was value town for Garen. You just had an impressive amount of board or impressive amount of units, and now you're down to a single pit rookie. On top of that, you're getting a double draw from the Draven side, just more and more card value, going up to 7 points for the Draven. Only one of these have to be held, and he still has a couple more units in the back, 2 mechs and a Noxus Hopeful, and all that's left. I mean, granted, a confront could perhaps do a little bit something. I think he's just a bit shy on runes. 5 runes going up to 7. Still can't play the double harness dragon he has in hand. Those are basically effective deck draws this entire game long. That's 2 harness dragon as we saw. A brawler, a mixologist. I just don't see a world. Draven looking like a clean 2-0 if you ask me.
100%. I mean, you still have Rebuke in hand, another Ride the Wind in hand. Like you're holding whatever battlefield you need to go up to 8 points. I don't think there's. I mean, does Matron get? I don't think so. Matron's only 3, or is it Matron 4 or less?
4.
It gets back.
No, 3
4?
or 3. I thought you meant Mike. Matron's a 4, but gets back 3 or less.
Yeah. So Matron gets back 3 or less. Like that doesn't get you back anything of value. We get back to Legionnaire, I guess, but it doesn't come in ready. There's no confront. You don't run. Which is also weird. We didn't run first mates in this list, which is a little shocking.
Yeah, I was just about to say a first mate could perhaps do a little bit of something. You matron to first mate, ready the matron, but still, even if that was a line, a potential line, it just still doesn't look too good because you have to think about the fact that you need to conquer not one battlefield, you need to conquer both of them. So just risking it for the biscuit. Can he get a hardness dragon? But even then, what is this pit rookie doing? He needs a punch first on top of the hardness dragon. And speaking of punch first, that's a double punch first, but the baited hook only able to get units. Things are going from bad to worse for the Garen player, and I think he sees the bigger picture, Rav. I think this Garen might be taking an L for this round 1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're hitting off top of that gets you 1 might out of this. Like, I would have just like taken the lunch break. Yeah, like, I would have scooped it. I'm gonna go get a early breakfast or something. Like,
Yeah, not too bad. As the majority of us here in chat would have expected, Draven taking out the Garen as early as that round 1.